What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 14 of Value Town. I'm your host, ChanManV, and got a special show today. We got our man Monk here joining us, our Liquid Value teammate, for those of you that know the group. Krip and Trump here again, as always. What's up, fellas?
Hey.
Sup.
All right, you guys on the ladder? You guys been able to hit the ladder since the reset about a couple hours ago?
Trump has.
Yep. It is the most bloodthirsty and most difficult rank 25 to 20 of all time.
Oh, man. Monk, you get a chance to play yet?
No, I've just mostly been watching the ESGN broadcast.
Yeah, I've been doing that too. I played 4 games, and I've had 3 legendary folks and 1 budget deck, so I feel you, Trump. I feel you. It's definitely been tough. But, Krip, you planning on trying to rank up to legendary this season, or no?
I don't know. I mean, if I get it, I get it. I'll probably play a while, and if I get bored, then I'll stop playing.
All right, sounds good.
And I'll probably get bored and stop playing before legendary.
All right. And Monk, how about you?
Yeah.
Monk, you were pretty high ranked last season, so. Nope, can't hear you, bud.
Yeah, probably will get rank legendary again, and we'll see how far I can go this season. Oh, sorry. We'll probably I'll probably go for legendary this season again, and let's see how far I can get this season.
All right, cool. Sounds good. Yeah, I know a ton of people are going to be playing, so it's probably going to be a crazy, crazy night on the ladder. But I figured we'd talk a little bit about Fight Night too, and then we'll transition into our scenario analysis where we look at screenshots from the board. And we actually have screenshots from Fight Night thanks to the ESGN folks. They allowed us to take some screens from the first 3 matches. So big thanks to those guys. But what do you guys think? You guys were all in Fight Night. We've seen matches with you guys and you guys casting, and you guys are seeing the post-production for the first time, right? I don't think you guys were able to see this final product before. What do you guys think? You guys impressed with everything? Does it look different than it actually was there?
It's exactly the same.
It's the same. They
Pretty
took it
much.
a different direction than I thought they would.
Oh, okay. Well, what'd you think it was going to be like?
They made it more funsies than...
Seriously?
Let's see. I don't know.
I feel like the only thing they added was those like ridiculous messages on top of the screen, and those are like so terrible. At least today they were so terrible, and
Yeah.
that's pretty much the only thing that we didn't get to see when we were there. I don't think that adds anything either way. Maybe it speaks to what Trump is saying. It's a little goofy, but that would be the only change that I could remember.
Monk, what do you think? You were casting today. Oh, your sound's cut out again, bud.
Yeah, it's pretty much what I expected. I was casting today. Yeah, this computer is like really buggy because I was supposed to be using a different computer, but apparently the webcam didn't work there. So I guess this isn't much better. But I thought it was pretty much what I expected. The production is a bit weird. I know. Like we saw today, Nix's name was spelled wrong, which is pretty funny.
They spelled my name wrong too.
And
No, really? I didn't even notice
Oh,
I was
wow.
spelling your name wrong. Wow, okay.
like, did they spell
Yeah.
Krip wrong or Kripparrian wrong?
They spelled Kripparrian wrong
Krip?
in the pre-fight night like hype trailer.
Oh,
When we did the walkout. Yeah.
All right, so I don't know. You guys sound kind of disappointed with it. I mean, I had no idea what it looked like, but I've been entertained so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah,
still good despite all that.
Yeah, it's still like the first big, huge tournament, huge LAN with, and especially it's a team tournament, which adds a whole new dynamic to other tournaments we've seen.
Yeah, I wish the benches were a little bit further apart because there were a few times where I felt like you guys were like almost whispering to each other because you didn't want the other team to hear what you guys were talking about. And I think that dynamic of the production is actually one of the more interesting parts.
I mean, that did happen, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I
Yeah,
guess... Oh, go ahead, Monk.
Yeah, I kind of felt that was a wasted opportunity. I thought a lot of the strategy discussion in between games was actually fairly interesting, and they caught a few snippets of it. But the ones that I did see them air were pretty interesting, to say the least.
Mm-hmm. Did y'all shoot all the matches all in one day?
It was
2
over
days.
the course of 2 days.
Unknown?
Unknown. Okay. Unknown.
Okay. Trump was kind of sleeping in between all the.
Oh man. Well, okay. Well, just to kind of continue the fight night theme, why don't we kind of do our board analysis segment where we take a look at screenshots from the board, and we'll let each of you guys kind of start off and do some analysis, and then the rest of you guys can kind of throw in your input at the end. And we pick key moments. Some of them are key moments. Some of them are moments that I think are just very common for a lot of folks that play Hearthstone, and be good just to discuss. And so not only will we just do the right move, but we'll also just try to talk about how it kind of impacts future moves here. So let's start things off and jump into the overlay here. It's taking a while. Okay, so we're going to kind of go in chronological order. The names aren't here, but we're going to start with the Trump and against Nimsh series. And this was the first one that actually Monk helped me, or Monk and I kind of went through a lot of the games last night and kind of picked these out. So here's the first one. Trump, why don't I'll let you kind of lead things off here. It's mage versus mage here, and I believe.
Yeah, how would you play if you were in Trump's shoes, Trump?
Well, okay, all right. That's
Yeah, I would cast
that's a good
Alex
point.
Strauss on him and then lose the game.
That's a good point. Well, actually, just comment on this, Trump, and then we'll let the other guys come in with their comments.
Okay, I also mentioned that the turn before this was pretty interesting, and it could have been played a different way, perhaps to make the Alex Strauss on this turn more legitimate. But,
okay.
Let's see. So, one thing to note is the opponent has used a Blizzard and a Cone of Cold already, I believe. So, given that he's only got 3 cards left, I thought it was reasonable to Alex Strauss at him. And that's what happens in these Fog of War games. Still, though, I've been informed by my team that, based on how many cards I have in my hand, this is overwhelmingly in my favor if I just manage to survive, even if one of the cards in his hand is Pyroblast or 2 cards, since we'll probably need one of those to bring me down. Well, it's hard to say. Anyways, that's rambling. I think this turn I should... Let's see.
I can't see how much health the Fairy Dragon actually has. Is that
I think
one?
it's 1.
It's
yeah,
one.
It's 1.
It's
Oh,
one.
okay.
Yeah.
Just for clarity. Sorry.
I guess Cone on Squire is okay. And then play Loot Hoarder and the Blood Mage.
Okay. Thoughts, Krip, Monk?
I certainly wouldn't do that. I would do Blood Mage, Cone on the Acolyte, and ping the Squire. Because then you kill all the creatures instead of 2 of them.
Oh, yep. That's way better.
You still have your Blood Mage. Or you can Flame Strike if you want.
I would go with.
Monk, go ahead.
That's an option. I would do that. I would do Crip's option, Blood Mage Thalnos, and then Cone of Cold and ping the Squire. And then I believe you still have enough mana to put down the Loot Hoarder. And I think that's better than Flame Strike because it allows you the opportunity to possibly draw 2 cards next turn if he has a Blizzard or a Cone of Cold.
Okay. Good point. All right, let's move on to the next one. We'll let you take this one first here. Oh, this is actually looked kind of similar at first, but this was actually the one prior. Oh, this was the one prior, wasn't it? Was this the one prior?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, this is the one prior. This is the one you were talking about, Trump. I reordered this.
It's probably turn 8 instead of turn 9.
Yeah. All right, why don't we talk this? I kind of chronologically messed that up. Krip, what's the right move here?
Let's see. So you got a Frozen Giant. You got 8 mana. I guess technically you could Cone of Cold and Blizzard to wipe the board.
Yeah, I think that.
Considering he has 3 cards and you have a Flame Strike, it's really not that bad. I think Kona Cold Blizzard. I mean, I don't remember exactly what Trump did, but clearly that's not what he did because we just saw the
We
Kona
just
Cold
saw
was
the
in the middle
results
of the
of it.
hand.
Yeah, yeah.
But Kona Cold Blizzard seems to work here. I think that's pretty good. But I didn't play Giants Mage that much, so I'm not sure.
Okay, Monk, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Cone of Cold Blizzard. I think it's a similar concept to last game where you can pretty efficiently clear the field, and that's what you want to do. You definitely. I'm not sure what other play there is. I believe Trump pings off Divine Shields and Blizzards. Is that what happens?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, any last thoughts, Trump, on this one? I mean,
And what was your rationale that you? Yeah, was your rationale that you wanted to save Cone for something else, or I don't remember.
Yeah, the rationale is I want to not use 2 freeze spells on a turn, which is generally correct, but in this case
that's
it's not.
true. That's true.
Mhm.
Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is that's the wrong one. Okay, the next one's going to be, let's see, it's going to be in the Warlock versus Mage here, with Trump, and this is a turn one play, and this is one of those kind of very standard plays, but I think it's worth discussing. And I guess what's to be discussed is whether to play Voidwalker or coin into Fairy Dragon here. And Trump, what are your thoughts on this play right here?
I'm pretty notorious for liking to save the coin. Precious, precious,
Yeah.
delicious ring. Goodness. So I would play Voidwalker here because you can follow up with the Shadowstone Cleric and buff it. It's pretty good. I understand the Fairy Dragon is reasonable because it nearly guarantees kill the Mana Worm, and mages find it difficult to buff that Mana Worm on turn 2 unless they have Mirror Image.
Mhm.
That's about it.
Okay, Krip, thoughts?
I mean, Trump's rationale was exactly right, but that's why you play the Fairy Dragon, because mages don't have a 2-drop spell. So you just kill the Mana Worm for free. Yeah. You
Okay.
play the Fairy Dragon to kill the Mana Worm for
All
free.
right, Monk, thoughts?
Yeah, I'd probably also go with the Fairy Dragon. It makes your turn 2 a bit awkward unless you draw another 1-drop. But again, the only response that the mage could do is that would be pretty effective would be an Arcane Missiles, which would hit you for 2 damage on the Fairy Dragon, and then he would clear the board that way. But that's somewhat unlikely. And also, we didn't know this yet, but the other team wasn't running Arcane Missiles in their deck.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. All right,
I thought
next.
Arcane Missiles was very likely, and it would be a disaster if he
Yeah,
had it.
actually,
if
that's
I coined Fairy Dragon, since the next turn it is Voidwalker, and that's it. And then he just does a 2/3 and a Fire Blast into it. I'd argue this one can be done either way. Depending
Yeah,
on how you
I
feel like
also think.
Yeah, it's really tight between the two of them. All right, let's move into the next one. We've got Mage versus Shaman here. And looks like we got a Bomber with, I believe it's 1 health? My screen's actually pretty small too. And, okay, Krip, why don't you take this one? Or lead us off here.
I still see the old image. I think you may have flashed back to it.
Oh, maybe it's delayed a little bit. Give it 1 second. Should see an Argent
Oh,
Squire
okay.
on the
I
field.
just
Yeah.
saw it now. Alright, so let me figure out what's going on. Bomber. When did this situation come up? Okay. Okay. Where did your 2 mana go?
This is Nimsh's mage, I believe.
Where did 2 mana go?
2 mana. Well, I mean, this isn't the full turn.
Frostbolt.
Yeah, this
Okay,
is
so you
this is just
Frostbolted
concentration.
something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think the choices are whether to play Acolyte or Harvest Golem in this particular case.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Nimsh ended up playing Acolyte, I believe. But it's really just up for discussion as to what the proper move is here.
I don't think you need cards at this point in the game. I mean, it's turn 6. You're probably seeing like a fire elemental. I'm pretty sure Harvest Golem is by far the best play here. And just attack into the bomber.
Okay. Good point. Monk?
I also have to agree with that. In this situation, you want to develop your board, and the Harvest Golem is a very sticky creature. It's very hard to get rid of him. You have to hit him twice with like two spells, and Earth Elemental just won't get rid of him right away. Also, your hand is pretty well developed. You have a lot of good options, and like next turn you'll be able to play Sylvanas or Cone of Cold and the other 3-drop. So yeah, I'd go with Harvest Golem as well.
Okay. Trump, I know you love your cards, so did you make the same play
I agree
here?
with that. I tend to only play the Acolyte of Pain if it's up there. Like, suppose his board also had like a Harvest Golem on it. Then I would play Acolyte of Pain, because the Acolyte of Pain would get 2 cards.
Mhm.
I usually save it unless the opponent's got some sort of a 2-attack or lower minion out.
Okay. Moving on, we're gonna move into.
I don't know if
whoops.
Kripp and Monk would agree. Like, say the opponent has a Harvest Golem up.
Mhm.
In addition to this bomber, would you play Acolyte or Harvest Golem?
Does it change? Your opinions change?
I would still go with Harvest Golem, I think, because again, there's the Fire Elemental, and
Yeah.
you still want to develop your field. The situation doesn't change that much. I mean, is your rationale that you can run your... Yeah, go ahead.
I think the only thing that changed is if you had a creature that was more important with like 2 toughness. So if you had, I don't know, like a fairy dragon instead of the squire, then you can Acolyte to ensure against forked lightning. But that would be about it. You just have too many cards. Like, you have more cards than the shaman and your aggro mage. Like, you don't need cards.
Okay. Moving on, we're gonna move into the next series with Monk and Ecop here, and I think this is Monk's point of view. And why don't you start off with start us off with this, Monk? Given even I know it's your play here, but I know you kind of regretted this play. So why don't you talk about this one?
What I did on this turn was I played Wrath for 1. And remembering back, I think my rationale, instead of Novice Engineer, was that at this point in the metagame, Shattered Sun Clerics were really popular in Shamans especially. And I really didn't want him to buff the totem and then kill my Novice Engineer, and he would be left with a 3/2 Shattered Sun Cleric and a 2/1 totem. But in retrospect, that's probably something that I don't want to play. I don't want to play around too much, because I don't even know if he's running Shattered Sun Cleric in this deck. I'd say only 50% of shamans run Shattered Sun Cleric at that time, and it was right after that the Shattered Sun Cleric was nerfed, so there was an even lower chance that he was running Shattered Sun Cleric. And even if he did do that move, I still had an option to coin Wrath for 3 the Shattered Sun Cleric, and then Puro Power the totem. So I still wouldn't have been in a terrible position that way either.
Okay, and just to clarify, there's actually 3 choices here. You can either Hero Power, Wrath, or Novice Engineer. Trump.
Okay. Yeah, and sorry. Let me.
Okay,
I
go
also
ahead, finish.
Wrath instead of Hero Powered, because my hand wasn't looking very good. I didn't have any like 3 or 4 or 5 drops in the future, so I really wanted to draw something that I could use in the future turns.
Okay. Trump, comments on the logic there, I guess?
That was very good reasoning. I think Novice Engineer is the best play.
Cool. Grip, anything to add?
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like just attacking the totem. I mean, what are you going to hope to draw? Like a Harvest Golem, I guess? That's about it. You're going to draw 1 card out of your deck. I don't know. Maybe a Keeper. There's just not that many 3 to 4 drops in this deck. Like, we all know the deck very well. I feel you don't need the cards next turn. I think you just Hero Power, take it easy. And as it turned out, if you did Novice, you'd kill it with the axe and develop his board more. You don't want to let the Shaman have creatures.
Okay.
I think
Monk?
Wrath was the second best play, but it's really close between Wrath and Hero Power because your hand does kind of suck.
Oh wow, so Novice would be the last play for you.
I would not Novice, no.
Comments, Monk, or no?
Well, I think it's in that situation. I didn't know he had a Stormforge Axe, although that was probably one of the more probable cards that he was running and that he would have in his hand. If he axed, I don't think it would be that bad, especially because he overloads the next turn, and also he would axe on his turn 3, which means that he wouldn't spend his mana efficiently, and then his next turn he would have to play a 3-drop as well. And
Well, the Shaman
I
mixed
don't
runs
really
and
care.
stuff.
Crip, what were you saying?
Yeah,
Shamans don't run 4 drops.
Shaman
You can
does-
overload on 3. You can have 2 3s and then 5. It's fine.
the thing is, our shamans, the liquid value shamans at that time didn't, but I know some of the Doge House ones ran either 1 or 2 Arguses or Dark Iron Dwarfs.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they had. I don't think they had Dark Iron Dwarf, but yeah. Argus, I guess.
Okay, let's move on. Next one, we got Shaman versus Druid. And let me see which perspective this is. I think this is Ecop's perspective here. He's got a he's got a wind totem on the field. Got an axe armed here, and it looks like we got 4 out of 5 mana. Trump, you want to lead us off here?
Sure. Waiting for the image load.
Oh, okay. It takes like 15, 20 seconds now. Takes a while.
All right. Huh.
Okay.
Lots of choices. Lots of 1 to 3 mana cards here.
Well, I guess I'll run down my rationale. Looks like that Novice Engineer is an obvious target to hit with the totem.
You mean with the axe?
Then your decision, yeah, with the axe. And then your decision really is to whether or not to cleric the squire or the totem. If
Yeah.
you cleric the totem, it saves it from the hero ability. So I would Shadowed Sun cleric the totem, play squire, hit the novice with my axe. I think that's how he played it.
Yeah, I think that's how Nimsh played it too. Crip, comments?
Yeah, it's pretty good. You can Shattered Sun the totem or your Argent Squire. I think either one is fine. You have Lightning Storm in hand, and Druid creatures are pretty big, so you kind of want the spell damage. And your curve is pretty tight, so you might not be able to totem for a while. So probably the totem buff is a little better than the Squire buff.
Monk?
I would have to disagree there. I would say, yeah, they're pretty close, but I think the Squire buff is a little better. One reason is that you only have a Lightning Storm in your hand. You don't have like a Fork Lightning or a Lightning Bolt, and Lightning Storm, like as you said, generally isn't that great against Druids. So you don't really need the spell power in the near future. Whereas the buffed Argent Squire could hit for double with his 2/2 stats. It's worth double basically because he has Divine Shield. So I think just basically the buffed like I don't really care if the totem dies as much. I think the buffed Squire is worth more.
But it's worth infinite if you buff the totem.
What do you mean infinite?
Just buff from 0 to 1, increasing it by
Oh,
infinite
man.
times.
Infinite percentage.
It's hard
No, I
to
actually think the totem's important, especially because you have Lightning Storm. It's a really good card to have spell damage with.
Yeah, I feel like Lightning Storm is just
Yeah, but
is actually useless. Like considering you have 2 axes, Lightning Storm is actually useless if you don't have spell damage. Like what are you gonna do with it? Kill it 2/4?
but are you really gonna Lightning Storm in the next few turns against the Druid?
You turn what we talking
Well,
about?
the
Turn
thing
6.
is,
turn
the thing
5,
is, if you look at the
Yeah.
curve, you just like the next time you can totem is on 7. So like you probably won't get another spell damage totem until turn 8 or 9. And in the next 5 turns, yeah, the druid might play like 2 creatures, and you can only kill one with a rock biter.
I mean, we're looking at what, turn 5 for the druid next. So either double play or like a Druid of the Claw or something like that. Yeah, actually, the Storm would be pretty useful.
Yeah.
Druid of the Claw, actually. But you'd have 2 units on the board too, so. Okay, well, let's continue. Well, we got Monk here. Monk's Druid, and it's the same series with Ecop here. Krip. Any comments on this play? Looks like 5 mana.
Still waiting.
Okay, still waiting. Gosh, man.
I loaded the stream like
I
3
gotta
different
transition
times.
even longer next time, man.
I'm running off of the
I'm gonna have to give you these images like locally next time.
Yeah.
This is
Okay. So I'm a druid. I'm up against the shaman, and the shaman just buffed the totem. Whoa. Okay.
This is the very next play.
All right. So let's see. What do we got here? What do we got? I have a
lot of
keeper.
options.
Have the innervate for a big ass card. He's got the axe.
And I believe he hasn't used any hex yet, right, Monk? I don't think.
Yeah, no hexes were used.
What do you need to silence? Just Sylvanas. Funny enough, he has Sylvanas because we just took a look at that screen.
Well, assuming you didn't see that.
Yeah. I'd probably just keep her down to 3/2. The other creatures are pretty easily C-wiped. So you get instant value. He'll probably attack into it. Easy peasy. Just keep her.
Okay. Actually, let me get Trump's opinion on this first. Trump, what do you think?
Yeah, first thing I looked is he's got 5 mana, can innervate into the 7, but he's got no, he could have Hex, although the Ancient of Lore isn't that bad when X, but the Ancient of Lore is poor here because he can just use the Shadowstone Cleric and the Axe to kill it. So basically Lore is out, War is out, the Healing Touch is worthless at this point, so your choice is boiled, and you can't, Naturalize is ridiculous, so basically your options are Keeper, Sun Fury. Sun Fury is out because it's helpful to taunt your Ancient Watchers, which are in this deck. So pretty much you have to keep her or swipe, and this isn't worth swiping. So I keep her the 3/2, just like Grip.
Okay, Monk?
What I did this turn was actually I innervated out the Ancient of War, and I had a lot of people tell me when they were watching it that the Keeper was better. But then I thought about it more, and the more I thought about it, the more at least comparable I thought the decision was to make the Ancient of War versus the Keeper. Like, for example, the worst case scenario if I played the Ancient of War was that he had a Hex in his hand, so he would have to spend 3 mana on the Hex, and then he would play like a Harvest Golem as well, and his board would be something like a Harvest Golem, the Totem, the Shadowstone Cleric, and the Squire.
Mm-hmm.
And the next turn, I would have 6 mana, and I would have a lot of options to deal with that. I would have the Keeper or the Swipe, plus the Hero Power or the Sun Fury Protector. Whereas if I did Keeper of the Grove this turn, I would waste 1 mana now, and then the next turn I would have 6 mana, and I would have way fewer options. I would only have Swipe plus one of the other two, plus the Protector, or Swipe plus Hero Power, or I would have to innervate and be also mana inefficient again. On turn 6, I would innervate, and I would innervate out like a Ancient of War, and I would waste 1 mana again. So basically, just more options, and it fits my curve better. And if he doesn't have Hex, I'm in a really good position. So it's kind of like a calculated risk, even.
Trump, any comments on that? That was
I mean, that's reasonable.
Yeah, it's
I'd
pretty-
like to point out that the absolute disaster
He
to
doesn't.
get Black
He doesn't
Knighted.
need hex though. No.
And,
Fire
but
Elemental.
this was on day
Fire
1.
Elemental deals with it.
Oh, hold on. Trump, let me hear your comments first.
Well, the disaster is you get Black Knighted if you innervate Ancient of War, but I don't think Team Dodge House was running Black Knights on day one. It wasn't very popular.
Okay. And Krip, you were talking about
Yeah.
Fire Elemental?
Yeah. Fire Elemental deals with the Ancient just fine as well. He's got 7 on board, and they're not very expensive creatures. Fire Elemental pretty much gets like a 1-for-1, and because you innervated, you lose value as well. So I don't know.
That's actually true.
I don't think the Ancient of War is the best play.
Okay. Let's move on. Next one. We'll have Trump in, Krip, again, kind of analyze this first since you play this monk. I think that would probably be the best way to do this. All right, this is the Gadgetan play here. And I think in this play, you can either naturalize, which I think is what you ended up doing, or, just or Argus or with some of the other plays. Krip, what do you think was the correct play here? And one thing to note also is that his opponent, Ecop here, only had 2 cards left in his deck. I think after you naturalized, he was out of cards. So
of course, you naturalize.
Okay, Trump?
What? What is there to discuss?
Well, I mean, it also depends on how many of the big cards are gone, because you want to watch out for the Ysera and Ragnaros and all that. Like, have we seen all of those yet?
Yep.
Both Ysera and Ragnaros have died.
Yeah, Ysera was actually you could have naturalized Ysera earlier, but you didn't. You did.
Yeah.
You saved it for the Gadget Zan here.
Well, I didn't save it for the Gadgetan. I saved it because I could have killed the Ysera without naturalize, and there might have been another target coming up later.
Alright, do you think there's another target coming up for this deck? Because that's pretty much the decision. Because if you think there's another target in those 2 cards in the deck or in his hand, then you save naturalize, and if you don't, you naturalize the Gadget Zan. And it's a big risk to get naturalize the Gadget Zan in case he has another card which does it, since you have no answers to any big cards anymore. So I mean, it depends on what you feel like.
I think, sorry to interrupt, but it's relevant. I think the only card he didn't play that was most likely in the deck was Sylvanas, and it happened to be the case that he hadn't drawn it yet. To add context to what you're saying there.
Okay.
It was,
So Sylvanas
he also
was
had
the
a...
best.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I knew he had a Sylvanas in the deck, then I'd play a Fender of Argus here. And then try to kill the Gadget Zan with those 2, and then probably save the naturalize for the Sylvanas.
Okay. Monk?
The other thing to note is that if I don't naturalize the Gadgetan, he'll take damage from whatever he'll take more fatigue damage from whatever spells he uses, because he'll draw additional cards, and then it doesn't really matter when I naturalize as long as I naturalize a creature, because he'll take the same fatigue damage no matter what. Like, let's say he has 0 cards in his deck, if I naturalize, he'll take 1 damage and then 2 damage. So I want to naturalize the biggest creature I can.
Okay. So you'd say to hold it then? Like, are you saying you would reconsider your choice of naturalizing it?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. I did naturalize it mostly because I was afraid, and I thought I was afraid of the creature, I guess, and I thought he could eventually race me down with the Gadgetan on the field because it was up there for another turn.
Okay, so if you don't naturalize, you Argus Healing Touch?
Argus, can I hero power that turn?
I think you played Novice, so you cannot with the 8.
No, then I would hero power and not healing touch, because I want to get the most hero powers I can out of my hero, just so I can do more damage to him and heal myself for 1 life.
Yeah, I like that, and that's worth saying also, since if you're late in the game, using the hero ability every turn, generally no matter what you are, is extra value, even if you can play something slightly better.
Okay. Let's move on. The reason I brought that one up, by the way, guys, is because there was a big discussion in our group pertaining to that. that play when it was happening live, I believe. Okay, next up we have Ecop's mage play against the druid, and I know it's loading up right now. And he currently has... let me see if I did this right. I might have screenshot this right at the... I might have screenshot this right when he was playing this. Okay, so, let me make sure. Okay, so I'll have to put this in context because it was tough because the broadcast had the big banner on the top, and I was trying to catch it right before. So he has 6 mana, I believe, on this turn. Is that right?
5.
5 mana? Oh yeah, he has 5 mana. He has the coin. Okay, so imagine he has like a full 5 mana right now, and he has those cards. So he hasn't played any of those cards quite yet.
Nah, I think he just played an ice block.
Did he? Oh yeah. That's actually what's being.
Yeah.
That's what's being.
Guessing it's
yeah,
Ice Barrier. Maybe.
It's ice block.
No,
It
no,
was ice
it's
block.
ice block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess he had a second
pretend
one
he
in his
didn't.
hand, but
Yeah.
yeah. So pretend he has
Yeah,
5
basically-
mana. He has an ice block, and then he has the hand he has right there.
Huh. I guess the question here is whether or not it's worth polymorphing a druid. And you could also do the Frost Nova Doomsayer combo, but I like to save that for even more value.
You could also fireball too. I believe that's one of the options.
It's not really.
It's an option, but
Yeah.
you generally need to
Just-
save that.
Just
for
pointing
mage.
it out. Just pointing it out.
I also think you only have one polymorph in this deck.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure this deck only
Yeah.
has one. And when you're up against a druid, there are so many important targets, like Ysera and Ragnaros, and I think he saw those from the last game, right? So he's probably thinking he needs to save that. Actually, he needs to save it for Rag. And then context, I think this plays fun. And then you Fire Blast the Golem.
Okay, so ice block, fire blast. Grip, what do you think?
I think the play is fine as well. And you could do other stuff, but I don't think it's worth it. I think you can afford to take another 6 damage based on what your hand is looking like.
Okay, Monk, thoughts?
I think the best play here is Frost Nova Doomsayer, because not only do you get to kill the creatures on the board, but you also get to deny your opponent of his next turn, which is pretty huge. Unless he can play a Keeper of the Grove to silence the Doomsayer, but honestly, he's gonna either have it or not have it. The Keeper anyway. So at some point you're gonna play the Doomsayer, and it's either gonna get silenced or not. And it's better to play it earlier, just because he might not have drawn the Keeper by that time. Whereas if you save it for later, there's more of a probability that he does have a Keeper.
Just to be clear, like the potential for clearing the board would require the coin, correct? Just because you'd have to fire blast the golem, and then you
Yeah,
could still pull
that's-
off the
Well,
Nova and Doomsayer.
that's another choice. That's another option, that you coin and fire blast the Harvest Golem, Frost Nova, and Doomsayer, and that would take 6 mana. But honestly, I don't think it's worth the coin to just get rid of the Harvest Golem completely. I think you can afford to take the leave a 2/1 on the field to save the coin, just because you want to be able to turn 7 Pyroblast as well as turn 8 Fire Blast.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
even more important, the coin is a fireball, since he's got Archmage Antonitis.
Yeah, that's true as well.
So, do you think the ice block play is really important in this turn 5, or does that play into any? I mean, does that play at all into the decision here?
I don't think it's important to play it this turn. The Frost Nova Doomsayer is a fine play, and I just don't do it because I'm greedy.
Okay.
I think
I
I can
agree
get
with
more
Sean.
from it.
I think you
Good.
have to be greedy. I mean, you only have that for a board clear right now. I think being greedy is very acceptable in this spot.
Okay. Let's move on to the next one. We're gonna move into the Crypt Artosis match here, and ooh, starting off with a doozy here. This one's Crip, so we'll have Monk and Trump comment on this board first. You guys let me know when it's loaded and get a chance to look at this. But he has 6 mana here, lots of minions on Artosis' board, and a Sylvanas on Crip's side of things. This is the lone minion. And Trump, I'll let you lead this off.
Okay, image just loaded in. So we've got Mr. Krip with 6 mana. Well, one of these guys is Krip. Well, the Druid has 6. Let's see. It's pretty
I
rough.
remember this turn.
Oh, we've got Swipe. Hooray.
Exactly. Lots of 1/1s. I need to
Amazing.
swipe. What?
Okay, so I guess running down the choices. Healing Touch is not acceptable to something else just because the other choices are so good. You could innervate into an Ancient of War, and that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. He's got 10 damage on the table, but you'll use Sylvanas to presumably take out 4 of it. So choice 1 is innervate Ancient of War. Choice 2 is use the swipe on a lot of 1/1s, and then use the hero ability to probably clear off the Argent's. Now you use it to clear off the Golem. So you either have a 5/10 Ancient of War and a 5/1 Sylvanas. It hits the Fairy Dragon, or you swipe the Golem. You use the Sylvanas to kill the 4/3. Use the hero ability to take down the 2/1, and then his side is a
1/1 Squire, I believe. Yeah.
1, which is unfortunate because your Sylvanas is at 1 health. That's probably not best. But you'd have such a huge advantage through that still. Yeah, I'd swipe the
But you could-
Golem.
But you could
hero
wrath
ability
and take a 1/1.
2/1. Oh,
I'm leaving.
I think yeah, okay, so that's what I do. Swipe pure ability, 2/1.
Okay.
Hero, Sylvanas hits Fairy Dragon.
Okay. Monk, thoughts?
I think Ancient of War is not a very good option just because he'll get so much value out of inequality with both the Sylvanas and the Ancient of War. So I think that leaves us with Swipe. And you would swipe the Harvest Golem, and that leaves you with 4/2 Fairy Dragon, a 2/1 Damage Golem, and a 1/1 Squire. But then the question is, what do you do after that? And what you don't do is you try Wrath your own Sylvanas to try to take a Damage Golem. But the options you have there are, I think definitely you want to clear the board because you don't, you want your Sylvanas to stay on the board because it's very hard for a Paladin to take care of a 1 HP creature for Sylvanas. Like, let's say you hit the Sylvanas into the Fairy Dragon, and then you hero power the Squire, and then you innervate Wrath the Damage Golem. Then you would have a 5/1 Sylvanas on the field, and Paladin doesn't have anything to deal with that. Maybe True Silver, but that's still inefficient. He takes 5 damage, or Consecrate. That's pretty terrible. Truce or Hammer of Wrath and not Hammer of Fate would probably be the best option, but that's still not really great. The other play that you could make is you actually no, that's it. That's a pretty good play.
Okay. Crip, thoughts?
It actually is another play. Yeah, Monk's right, but there is another play where you swipe the face, and then
Swipe the face. Okay.
yeah, you swipe face, attack Sylvanas into the Fairy Dragon, hero power down the Squire, and then you wrath your Sylvanas for 1, and you take a real Harvest Golem.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh man, you had me going there. Really good, man. Real
What?
good.
That's not bad.
Wait, how did you get rid of the Fairy Dragon?
You attacked it with Sylvanas.
You attacked
He's
it.
talking
Oh,
about
right,
Sylvanas.
right, of course.
Yeah. You're stealing a whole stone.
You're
a Harvest
stealing a
Golem.
full
That's pretty
Harvest
good.
Golem.
for a wrath.
No, because you wrath for 1 for an innervate.
No,
Right.
you wrath for 1. Yeah.
And you get a card. Okay, yeah, it recycles it too. Yeah. That's true. That's true. Well, I forget what
it's
play
just
you ended up
whether-
making here. Did you do the...
Not a good one.
Oh, really? Oh,
I
okay.
don't think
We
so.
won't
Best.
discuss that then.
4th best.
we won't discuss that one then. All right, let's move on. Oh, next one. We got lots of stuff on the board. Oh, this was the oh yeah, this is the A one. I thought I saved this one for the end, but apparently I did not. I have some. Hold on a second. I have a bunch of other stuff here. Make sure I'm right with this. Hold on.